KRS-One and MC Hammer are wrong to refuse the hip-hop 50th year Grammy celebration. What up, words? Your boy Challz Brown back again, talking facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. All right, man, I know I might offend my political connects. I know this already. I understand. Half of you clicked on this video to thumbs down, to hate, without even hearing what I have to say. And I want to be clear. I understand your emotion. I understand when you evoke certain names like KRS-One and MC Hammer and things of that nature. I understand. It's a certain level of respect. I love these two artists. I am not the biggest Hammer fan, but I am the biggest KRS-One fan. I have no problem with MC Hammer's music. I've grown to accept and respect MC Hammer for what he brought to the culture. I actually was excited to watch him when I think he did a show recently on maybe BET or something where he did a bunch of his songs. I was jamming with Hammer, which is not normally the case, right? I am not one of the people who was rooting for MC Hammer back in the day. I'm just going to be 100% honest for you. As far as not as far as a human being, just some of his music I really wasn't into. But I liked his story. Let's keep it a buck. I liked his story. I liked that he was from Oakland and he was a self-made man who found people to invest in him, put up money and made himself a multi-millionaire, and he put a lot of people on. I really respected his story. Okay, let's put it like that. I didn't like that he dissed Run DMC. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't like that. And I didn't like how he kind of went at the whole New York system, which was at the time the whole hip hop system was New York. It was built in New York. So I'm just going to keep it a buck. I had issues with some of Hammer. I didn't like that his back and forth with Third Base, even though, you know, he didn't start it with them. They kind of started with him. But end of the day, I respect MC Hammer for what he has become and has actually become a legend in this business. A lot of people, I've changed my stance on them as I got older and I understood it wasn't just about how the music was supposed to sound to me at the time. They were changing the culture, right? KRS-One, on the other hand, has always had my utmost respect. I wanted to be in Boogie Down Productions. I wanted to rock the Boogie Down Production jacket. I wanted to be down with BDP, Chris, Kenny, all these guys. I wanted to be in that scene. I thought Miss Melody was cool, D Nice was cool, Just Ice. I thought they were the coolest things since sliced bread. So with that being said, these two are two very different versions of hip-hop, but they are hip-hop nonetheless. And I have nothing but mostly good things to say about both of these people as human beings. Now, you're saying, well, what the hell you mad about, Chuck? What you talking about? Simple fact of the matter of what I have to say, and we're going to be here for a while. But I watched KRS trend this morning, yesterday and today. I believe Pete Rock put a clip up of KRS explaining why he didn't attend the Hip Hop 50th Grammy celebration. And I want to break down why I feel like he's wrong for what he said. I know a lot of people in the comments, yeah, Chris is putting them in their place. Da, da, da. They never respected us, and I get it. His reasoning was the Grammys never respected hip hop. And that's a fact. Let's be honest. The Grammys never respected hip hop. And he said his reason was, for 50 years, you have ignored us. And now on the 50th, you're going to try to call the teacher to be a part of your shenanigans. You can go play games with yourself, because I'm not going to show up to something like that. And if I do show up to something that is disrespectful of the culture, I'm only there to shut it down. So if you see me there, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to say something that's going to bring it to its knees. That would be the only reason I would attend something like this. Other than that, I'm not going to attend that. He went on to say that hip hop is breakdancing, DJing, rapping, and graffiti, and anything else is not hip hop. He also went on to say that most of the people, in his own way, he said, were rappers. It wasn't hip hoppers there. So I'm going to go on what he said. He said it was mostly rappers there, not hip hoppers. He said that the Grammys have disrespected hip hop since its inception, and now they want to come around and play games with it and pretend that they love it. So KRS-One is a little bit older than me. But I am not a new chicken. I am not a spring chicken. I know a lot about the beginnings of hip hop. And a lot of people that are in hip hop know that it started on the streets of New York to help curb the gang violence. Instead of fighting, they decided to compete, doing things that became to be known as hip hop. Right? They weren't called hip hop at first. They were just dancing and doing different things. As that began to develop and evolve, it became more popular in the city. And all across the city, people were starting to break dance and do graffiti and things of that nature. The reason that it evolved, this is an undisputable fact, is because people from downtown, the richer communities, started to display it as art. Downtown, they started to put it in different exhibits, and they started to pay the graffiti artists for the graffiti. And the rappers started to get record deals from the rich people, right, from downtown who had record labels, right? And you're going to say, well, what about the black ones? That they weren't they didn't pop like the bigger ones did, right? Let's just be honest. When they got the label deals, the music was reaching further across. You used to have to wait for a mixtape, right? It was growing, kind of like Go-Go in DC. It was growing, and it had mixtapes and this and that, and we knew, if you were from DC, you know what Go-Go is. But until it really got the record deals and the music videos, it was just a thing that they did in New York. And that is a fact. It was a street culture that became popular with people that were of a different kind of class in New York, and that started to elevate it, to put money behind it. It's just a fact. When it started to get more money behind it, it started to expand. People that didn't know nothing about it started to get into it. People of different cultures started to get into it. Yes, it is a black art form. But then people of other cultures started to support that black art form. Some of the rappers from back then said they would go downtown and have a room full of white people to perform for, because that's who was paying to see the shows. It's just a fact. So as it started to generate money, and as it started to become more popular, it had to jump through certain hoops to be taken seriously as an art form. One of those hoops was getting a Grammy. It's just a fact. As a musician, your goal is to receive the highest accolades as a musician, and one of those accolades is a Grammy. It's not many awards that you're going to get as a musician that's going to be higher than that. I know we like to say F the Grammys, da, da, da. I know, I understand that. But at the same time, DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince won the first Grammy, and they boycotted the Grammys because they wasn't going to show the award on TV. Rap had an uphill battle, bro. It was not easy. It was not this. It never was this, right? And we understand that. But imagine if DJ Jazzy Jeff and them was like, I'm not going down there ever because they didn't respect me 5 years ago. KRS-One's whole argument is that the Grammys disrespected hip-hop for 50 years. Jazzy Jeff and them got that award in 1989. You do the math how long ago that was. There's been Grammys every year since that. Hip-hop is the #1 genre of music. If we have a mind state that we're going to stay in our bubble of hip-hop bubble, we're never going to advance as a culture. If we stick to stuff from 10, 15 years ago, you did this to me 10 years ago, so I'm never going to accept you, right? And I understand that. Questlove put that show together, right? And I get it. Questlove takes a lot of heat. Questlove is an ambassador for hip-hop right now. Love it or hate it, this is what he's doing. And he could have put 1 million rappers on that show, 1 million hip-hoppers, and someone would have said, well, what about this guy? He's not there. Questlove caught heat for people who refuse to be there, not being there. He asked people to be there. And I'm not defending Questlove, right? And I get it. You're going to say, well, hip hop really didn't start with Kool Herc. It's a million things that's going to keep us divided. I feel like KRS-One, and I'm going to get to MC Hammer's reason. But to say, you disrespected us for 50 years and now you want to what progress are we going to get if we never move forward? If we always stuck in, you disrespected me years ago, now I'm never coming there. It was a lot of real hip hop heads there. KRS is calling them rappers. It was a lot of real hip hop heads in that show, from what I understand. Now, no, I did not watch. I planned to watch it, right? But the names that they were spitting off that were there, I'm not taking nothing from these people. My whole thing is a lot of people who didn't get on these platforms or were upset about it, a lot of them were upset about the pay. Special Ed's reason for not going was the bag that they were offering him he didn't feel it was worth it. So he's not going, right? I understand that. Now, end of the day, that's a personal reason. If we're talking about hip hop as a culture, there is no bag that's bigger than that. KRS-One said hip hop, all the shows should have been free. Am I bugging? Somebody look it up. I believe it was KRS. Special Ed. They all said that you shouldn't even, Special Ed was the one that said that. He said you shouldn't be paying for it. Now, I don't know what kind of hip hop, what part of hip hop where you supposed to do something for free. But if that's what it is, then how can you say they didn't give me a big enough bag? It didn't come out the same sentence to say that all the shows should have been free. So I needed to be where we're going to advance as a people. To me, how can I advance if I'm stuck in the past? Every year that list comes up and there's some rap categories on it. Do they suck? A lot of times they're giving it to trash people, yes. But guess who got a Grammy? Nas got a Grammy. Did he accept it? I think Jay-Z got 24 Grammys. Kanye got 24. Lauryn Hill got 8 Grammys. Like, I understand that it's cool to be against certain stuff, but to be against it just because you're against it don't make no sense to me. It's cool for some people to get a Grammy, but not others. And I feel like if you're going to say the Grammys didn't accept me, how can you say that when all of these great rappers have gotten Grammys already? Common has a Grammy and an Oscar. So where are we supposed to not like the Grammys at? Like, explain to me how all these great lyricists, Kendrick, all these great lyricists got Grammys, but somehow I'm supposed to say the Grammys disrespected hip hop and rap for years. It needs to make sense. I know they fumbled and they've given Macklemore the Grammy over Kendrick. They've given Iggy the Grammy over Drake and whoever else, right? I know they fumbled. I understand this. Source Awards has fumbled. BET Awards has fumbled. I'm trying to figure out why we're supposed to have this ongoing hatred of anything that has anything to do with awards, when almost 80% of the hip hop community is watching those awards and going to those awards and accepting those awards. I'm trying to figure out how KRS gets to tell us I'm all set with the Grammys, which is okay. That's your prerogative. But don't make it like you didn't attend it because of the Grammys, because it wasn't about the Grammys. This was about hip hop, right? It's the hip hop awards celebration it was the Grammys celebration of hip hop itself. Do you guys remember when Hot 97 was the voice of hip hop? Are they still that? I don't think so. Right? But at one time, that was the voice. Now, if you're going to say, oh, this is the people who respect the hip hop, the culture of it, is that forever? When they clearly fall away from what they used to be? Is that forever? So if the Grammys were disrespectful to hip hop, like you say, which I disagree with, right? Yes, to a degree, they didn't respect it, but it needed to earn its respect. And it took a certain amount of time to do that. Hip hop gonna be here another 100 years. I don't know how long you're supposed to be like, we don't like the Grammys. How long, when are we supposed to evolve? I told you, when they went downtown and got the money, it became bigger. When they went and started getting the Grammys, it became bigger. It became a respectable art form. We can't be a respectable art form if we only sticking to breaking on the street corners and rapping to each other. It doesn't work like that. I don't understand how KRS expects this culture to evolve, but he's going to stay stuck in the 1979 days where the Grammys wasn't having us on there. Right? They called you. They didn't ignore you. They called you. You're hip hop. You represent hip hop. And like I said, I got much respect for KRS-One, but I don't think a hip hop ambassador can pick and choose where he's an ambassador of hip hop. I don't think you can do that. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I don't think if I'm the ambassador of the United States, I get to pick and choose where I get to do that at. You're supposed to carry that flag wherever it goes. He didn't say he had beef. He just said, I didn't like that they didn't call me for 50 years. Okay, then they called you down. So what's up? And again, I'm not a supporter of the Grammys. The Grammys have sucked for years. The show itself is awful. But at the same time, our representation, what do they say? Representation matters. Now you let a lot of KRS said at the end of that rant that a lot of stuff that went up there didn't resemble rap. So he watched it. You turned it down and then watched it. Make it make sense. You turned down the show, then watched it to criticize it. Make it make sense, dog. Make it make sense. You can't criticize it when you didn't go and represent us as a hip hop culture. If I call 50 people and 25 of them say no, that are real representations of this culture, and I call another 25 that's kind of blah, blah, but they say yes, guess what the culture gonna look like up there? 50-50. I don't feel like you can be an ambassador of hip hop and then pick and choose where you go and don't go to represent it. And I know some people are going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't agree with you. Now let's get to MC Hammer. Now, Hammer said he didn't go because he didn't want to be in a room of fake people who used to diss him and disrespect him. And he didn't want to have to shake hands with these people. I want to ask Hammer, where do you go in this world where you don't shake hands with fake people? Let's start there. And second of all, how long ago was this? We get it. You wasn't hitting in New York. We understand that. We understand the phrase. You ain't hitting in New York, Hammer. I understand that. But Hammer, you got to understand. You came out dissing Run DMC out the gate. Whatever goodwill you would have earned, you kind of squandered it because you came out swinging at New York, the place you wanted love from. And I get it. Diss records were cool in the 80s. And that's how a lot of people got on Roxanne Shante, Salt and Pepper. We get it. It was about dissing and da-da-da-da. But when you dissed, people responded. Now, Hammer says he don't want to shake hands with fake people who dissed him. How long ago did that have to be, Hammer? We're talking 30 years ago? Hammer got to be pushing 60. The people that would have seen you on that stage would have remembered forever what you done to this culture. It wasn't about these artists that you're saying you don't want to see, you want to shake their hand because they said a slick line about you in 1992 when you was doing Pumps in a Bump. We way older now, bro. We can get in the room with anybody right now. Anybody. You ain't physically shoot none of these people, fight none of these people. Who in that room? And at the end of the day, you don't have to see nobody. You could walk in, do your 1-2 and leave. Do your sound check. It's all kind of concessions could have been made for you. But it shouldn't have to be. You're a hip hopper. I don't know how a hip-hopper can't go in a room with other hip-hoppers. Explain that to me. So I know people feel a way, you don't see the big picture of what Hammer's saying. I do see it. I do see it. And I think it's petty. Because the simple fact, the hip-hop is supposed to be this big culture, and it's supposed to be represented at all times by the people in it. And when the people pick and choose, like MC Shan went at Nas, right? Let's revisit that. MC Shan went at Nas because he wasn't on the 50th anniversary that Nas had planned with Mass. What's Nas record label? I'm bugging out. I'm drawing a blank, right? Nas record label, his company was doing a 50th anniversary. For whatever reason, wires got crossed, and MC Shan was not invited for whatever reason, or he didn't check. He thought he wasn't invited. He was invited, but he didn't check his messages. But he saw everything go, and he went nuts on Nas and called Nas every name in the book. And then a day later went online and said, I was wrong. They reached out to me with a big bag. Nas is the man, right? It was a petty reason to get upset that he had no reason to be upset. And a lot of times when you peel back these layers, they personal reasons. For you not to get on stage and represent the culture, it's usually a personal reason, and it's usually petty. Let's recap. KRS-One said they didn't disrespect me. I'm assuming he's saying he's hip-hop. They disrespect hip-hop for 50 years. How? When they've been giving out Grammys since 1989. But whatever. He said they disrespect hip-hop, and now you want to call the teacher and have me go and speak and perform. I'm not going to do it. Okay, that's a personal decision. The Grammys absolutely did nothing to him. Questlove did absolutely nothing to KRS directly. Besides, in his mind, not call him when he's the one that said on his record years ago, after the Grammys, he wouldn't do award shows for pimps and hoes and all the other hypocrites. All that, that's what he said. Right? So, end of the day, he's never shown nothing but disdain for the thing since the 80s. So then say that. If you've never liked it since the 80s, say that. Don't say, you've disrespected me since the beginning. And now you want me to, no. You never liked them since the beginning. Just say that. It's a personal reason. It's a personal choice. You personally didn't like that whole setup. And that's fine. Say that. Don't make it like you're standing up for the entire culture. Because half these dudes was there. Most rappers, when they get a Grammy, they go up and accept it. So I don't know how you speaking for the whole culture. It's just a fact. Don't Eminem, didn't he go up there and get a Grammy? Like, everybody, 90% of the people who get a Grammy go up there and get it. So I don't know how KRS is somehow speaking for the entire culture because he didn't go. Hammer said he don't want to rub elbows with the people that used to diss him. Well, Hammer, you was throwing disses too. I'm just keeping it a buck. So let's squash all the dissing. Let's squash all of the back and forth that happened over the Hammer pants and all this stuff, the Hammer dance, all this stuff. Let's move forward. Get up there. I think the real reason Hammer, in my opinion, don't want to get up there because he thinks they're still going to be low-key laughing at him when you get up there. And at this point, Hammer, nobody's laughing. Everybody's going to celebrate you when you get up there and do your dance, do your moves. Everybody's going to celebrate you because nobody's on that no more. We all understand what you did for the culture. Put it aside, bro. Special Ed, he said he didn't go because they didn't give him a big enough bag. So that's what it is all about. The bag was bigger, you would have did it. Every single person, my old elder statesmen, right? I don't want to call them OGs. My elder statesmen are kind of holding us back when they come up with these petty. And Pete Rock is the one who put the thing up. And I'm just going to be a buck with you right now. Pete Rock might be one of the pettiest people in hip hop of all. That stuck in the past, won't move forward. Not being 100% truthful with us. Got a lot of little issues. Him and Talib Kweli. Just funny style. Right? I know I'm supposed to rock with everything KRS-One says and everything the old heads say. I'm not built like that. I don't just ride with what you say. It got to make sense to me. And I don't think that KRS made much sense when he said they've been dissing us for 50 years when they just gave out the Grammys. The last Grammys that came on, they gave out hip-hop Grammys and did tributes to hip-hoppers that fail. And they already did a 50th thing at the Grammys, and they didn't have to do another one. How can you exploit something that exploits itself? You get up there to perform. You get up there to make money. You get up there, you say the N-word, you do everything you want to do in your own culture, and you expect to get paid for it. So if you're expecting to get paid, get up there and get paid. I don't know how you can be exploited if you're getting paid to be there. I'm going to leave it at that. CLBMG. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, if you don't agree, please let me know. You got an opinion that differs from mine? I'm sure you do. Let me know in the comments. I said what I said. I stand by literally everything I said. I feel like these guys are too old. Some of their reasons don't make any sense because we're supposed to be moving forward. We're supposed to be moving forward as a culture. Either the whole culture can go to the Grammys or nobody can go. And apparently most people are not agreeing with KRS because most people are going over there. Let me know what you think. I'm going to catch you on that flip side. CLBMG.com. Go over there and support the advertisers, the links we got over there. We got new music. We got the shows. We got the What Show. We got the Mix Down Show. We got Talking Facts. We just moving, bro. I'm going to catch you on that flip side. Peace.
CLB.